In the chaos of the Second World War, artillery dominated battlefields from miles away. But when fighting collapsed into trenches, bunkers, forests, and ruined cities, warfare shrank to the distance a man could throw. In that brutal close-quarters environment, the hand grenade became the infantryman's personal artillery. Small, simple, and devastatingly effective. Every major power engineered its own solution to the same battlefield problem. How to clear a room, break an assault, or stop armor using something that fit in a soldier's palm. In the chaos of the Second World War, artillery was the king of battle, but the hand grenade was the soldier's personal artillery. From the iconic German potato masher to the American pineapple, every major power had a different philosophy on how to clear a tread. Which design actually worked best? Music, when the pins were pulled. Today, we are breaking down the engineering, the flaws, and the lethality of the most famous explosives of World War II. We begin with the United States. 2 Malawian Kwacha's fragmentation grenade. Known universally as the pineapple, this was the standard-issue defensive grenade for American GIS. Its heavy cast iron body was deeply grooved, which soldiers believed would cause it to break into even fragments. In reality, the iron shattered inconsistently, creating a lethal radius of up to 10 yards. But dangerous fragments could fly as far as 50 yards, meaning the thrower had to take cover immediately. MIA 3A2 Offensive Concussion Grenade. Unlike the 2 Malawian Kwachas, this weapon was designed for the offense, specifically for clearing bunkers and enclosed spaces. It used a pressed fiber body filled with TNT, designed to kill via a massive concussive blast rather than flying shrapnel. This allowed American troops to throw it into a room and charge in immediately without risking friendly fire from their own fragments. M15 White Phosphorus Grenade, nicknamed Willie Pete. This was a terrifying chemical weapon. Upon detonation, it burst into burning phosphorus that burned at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit and could not be extinguished by water. It was used primarily to create instant smoke screens, but its psychological, music, impact on enemy troops in trenches was devastating. M1 Colored Smoke Grenade. While not a lethal weapon, the M18 was vital for survival and communication in the chaos of battle. It was filled with a chemical mixture that produced vibrant red, yellow, green, or violet smoke for signaling air support or marking targets. Ground troops often use specific colors to tell overhead fighter bombers exactly where the enemy line began. M9A1 Music, Anti-Tank Rifle Grenade. When a hand throw wasn't enough to stop armor, the M9A1 was fitted to the end of a standard M1 Garand rifle. It utilized a shaped charge warhead that could penetrate up to 2 in of armor plate. This gave infantry a fighting chance against light tanks and armored cars from a safe distance. Next, the engineering of Germany. Schelhen Granit 24, the famous Stickerade, was the iconic weapon of the German soldier. The long wooden handle acted as a lever, allowing for a throwing range of 30 to 40 yards, significantly farther than Allied designs. To arm it, the soldier unscrewed the base cap and pulled a porcelain bead, igniting a friction fuse that burned for roughly 4.5 seconds. Aachen Granite 39. As the war progressed, soldiers needed something lighter and easier to carry in bulk. The egg grenade was a small pulverized explosive that fit easily into pockets. It featured color-coded cap wings to indicate different fuse delays, allowing music soldiers to choose between a standard throw or a booby trap configuration. Gabalot Lele. When a single stick grenade wasn't enough to crack a bunker or a tank track, German troops wired 6 explosive heads around a central Model 24 handle. This bundled charge was a heavy improvised demolition tool. It required a strong arm to throw, but the combined blast force was enough to disable medium tanks. Panoramine 1L. This was a dedicated anti-tank weapon designed with music, sophisticated aerodynamics. It looked like a large dart with canvas fins that deployed after throwing. These fins stabilized the flight to ensure the shaped charge had hit the tank armor at a perfect 90 degrees angle for maximum penetration. Havelholadung 3, perhaps the most frightening weapon for a tanker to see. This was a magnetic anti-tank grenade shaped like a funnel. A brave infantryman had to run up to the tank and attach this charge directly to the steel hull with powerful magnets before pulling the fuse and sprinting for cover. Hoping the 3-second delay was long enough. Moving to the United Kingdom, No. 36M Mills bomb, the British standard. The Mills bomb was arguably the most successful fragmentation design of the war. It was waterproofed with shellac and featured a complex internal striker held back by a lever or spoon. It was so effective that it could be fitted with a base plate and fired from a rifle, extending its range to over 100 yards. Number 69 Concussion Grenade made of bolite plastic. This was an offensive grenade designed for safety. Because the casing was plastic, it created very little dangerous shrapnel, relying entirely on the blast wave. This allowed British troops to throw it and charge immediately into the smoke without fear of being hit by their own weapon. Number 74 Sticky Bomb. This was a glass sphere filled with nitroglycerin and covered in a sticky adhesive protected by a metal casing designed to stick to enemy tanks. It was notoriously dangerous to the user as it often stuck to uniforms or dirt instead of the target. It became a symbol of the desperate early war period. Number 82 Gammon Bomb. Essentially a bag of plastic explosive with a dankying fuse. This was a favorite of paratroopers. It was malleable, meaning a soldier could remove some explosive for a small blast or fill the bag entirely to blow the tracks off a heavy tank. Its flexibility made it an essential tool for sabotage. Number 68 Anti-tank rifle grenade fired from a rifle cup. Disc grenade holds a significant place in history. Music. It was one of the very first operational weapons to use a shaped charge warhead. This technology, which focuses blast energy into a narrow jet to punch through armor, music, would go on to define modern anti-tank warfare. The Soviet Union F-1 fragmentation grenade, nicknamed the Lenka or Little Lemon, this was a crude, heavy cast-iron defensive grenade. While it looked similar to the American 2 Malawian Quachas, its fuse mechanism was simpler and more robust. It was easy to manufacture in the millions and worked, music, reliably in the freezing mud and snow of the Eastern Front. RGD-33 stick grenade, a complex, music, Soviet stick grenade that featured a unique dual-function design. It had a removable fragmentation sleeve. Without the sleeve, it was an offensive blast grenade, but with the heavy metal sleeve added, it became a defensive fragmentation weapon. However, its arming sequence was difficult and slow compared to German or American counterparts. RG-42 fragmentation grenade. This grenade looked like a simple tin can. It was designed for rapid mass production in besieged cities. Inside the light metal casing was a coil of layered steel strips which acted as shrapnel. It was cheap, effective, and could be made in civilian factories with minimal tooling. KS Molotov cocktail. The weapon of the desperate, officially standardized by the Red Army. These were simple glass bottles filled with a mixture of fuel and a chemical igniter. When smashed against a tank engine deck, the chemical reaction ignited the fuel instantly, choking the engine and the crew with smoke and fire. Imperial Japan. Type 97 hand grenade. The standard Japanese fragmentation grenade used a unique arming system. The soldier had to pull the safety pin and then strike, music, the fuse a small brass cap on top against a hard object like a helmet or a rock to start the chemical delay. This loud click often gave away their position in the jungle. Type 91 multi-purpose grenade designed to be a logistical jack of all trades. It could be thrown by hand, launched from a rifle adapter, or even fired from a Type 89 mortar. This versatility meant that a single crate of grenades could supply every weapon system in an infantry platoon. Type 4 ceramic grenade, a weapon of desperation. As Japan ran out of metal late in the war, they turned to pottery kilns. These were ceramic balls filled with explosives and a simple match fuse distributed to civilians for the final defense of the home islands. They relied on blast force rather than shrapnel. Type 3 conical anti-tank grenade, a shaped charge weapon with a hemp tail for stability. It was designed to penetrate tank armor, but it lacked a sophisticated delivery system. A soldier had to be dangerously close to the target to throw it accurately, making it a suicide weapon in all but name. And finally, Italy and France, SRCM Mod 35, known as the Red Devil due to its bright red aluminum body. This Italian grenade used an impact fuse, meaning it exploded on contact rather than on a timer. While effective, it was notorious for leaving dangerous unexploded ordnance if it landed in soft mud or deep snow. French F1 defensive grenade, the grandfather of modern defensive grenades, developed in World War I and used into World War II, its heavy cast iron design and simple ignition system inspired both the American II Malawian Quachas and the Soviet F1. It set the standard for what a defensive grenade should look like. From the high-tech shaped charges of the British paratroopers to the ceramic pottery of the Japanese defense, these 25 weapons shaped the infantry combat of the 20th century. Which one would you choose to carry into battle? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more deep dives into military.